But first, all 4 lanes of Cecil Ashburn Drive are officially open. City leaders made the announcement today, and our Kelly Kennedy has the latest.
Construction to widen Cecil Ashburn Drive from 2 to 4 lanes began in January last year. Well, today, crews will be picking up these remaining orange barrels on the road.
I think there were 450 barrels out here, and as we pick those up, we're finishing up an $18 million project.
Leaders say the project came in under budget and was completed 4 months ahead of schedule. Now that it's fully open, getting to and from Old Big Cove Road and 4 Mile Post Road is much easier.
The capacity on this road initially for this 2-lane road was about 14,000 vehicles per day, and we were already seeing about 17,000 vehicles per day using this road, and that was the reason behind why the mayor pushed to have it included in the Restore Our Roads program.
Engineers had safety in mind when designing the road. Now there are 8-foot shoulders along each side of the road for cyclists and pedestrians, and a median cut at the top of the mountain for emergency vehicles.
Some of the safety features that we added was the concrete divided median, raised median that will reduce the crossover traffic. We also installed an open grade asphalt friction layer on the top that would also help with the drainage on this mountain.
As Huntsville continues to grow, this project will help carry the city into the future.
You're seeing new development happening in Hampton Cove because of this investment. Even though the road we're just opening today, there's decisions being made by corporations because of that investment to get started and try to be open by the time the road's open.
City leaders say they appreciate the patience of the public during this project and are happy to give it back to the community. Putting the Valley first, Kelly Kennedy, WZDX News.